On day 101, I woke up in the basement beneath the hotel. Behind me were the remains of an elevator. Everything seemed a bit fuzzy, and the crash left me with a massive blow to my health. Gosh, what happened? Suddenly, my mind became flooded with flashbacks of all of my previous encounters before I had reached this point. I remember now! I gotta get out of here! I couldn't sit idly waiting for something to happen. I began exploring the area. While doing so, I stumbled upon another door titled 101. Oh no! Don't tell me there's more! At that moment, the figure had dropped down behind me. The terrifying Screech had left me frozen in place. I tried pushing onwards as fast as I could, but it was meaningless. The figure caught up, biting my shoulder in the process. Screaming in agony, the pain was hard to bear, causing me to black out. On day 102, I had awoken as the figure. As the figure, I had 30 hearts and super hearing. I rampaged down the halls of the underground dungeon, destroying anything that dared to come in my path. All will fear me! Suddenly, I heard someone talking in the other room. I broke inside, but nobody was there. They're hiding from me! I used my super hearing to listen closely. Just then, I picked up on the sound of their heartbeat and was able to spot them in their hiding spot. Gotcha! I ripped apart the closet and killed the player in a single blow. I'm so powerful, but I need more! I continued to tear through each room, finding more and more players to consume. I thought my fun would never end until I stumbled into a strange laboratory. There, a scientist stood waiting. Finally, more food! I lunged at them, but they hit me with a splash potion, causing me to get dizzy.
Quiet now, Subject 13. You're going to be promising.
I succumbed to the potion and blacked out. On day 103, I woke up in a factory-like room with a pounding headache. I couldn't remember anything. Was that a dream? Just then, I realized all of my materials from the previous days were gone. I have to start over. How am I going to survive? I felt defenseless. Suddenly, a player emerged from a nearby locker. Thank goodness! Someone who can help! Die, beast! The player began to attack me. Normally, I would have protected myself, but I didn't have a sword of my own. I rushed into a nearby locker to hide. Come out! No way! The crazed player tried to break in, but suddenly the lights turned red. An entity unlike anything I had ever seen before appeared and attacked the player, killing him instantly. Afterwards, they vanished. What just happened? I left the locker and saw that the player had dropped a note as well as some food. This factory is even more dangerous than the hotel. If you want to have any hope to survive the powerful entities lurking these halls, make it to door 200. What kind of entities are in here? I'm scared to find out. On days 104 through 107, I began to scavenge the halls of the factory in hopes of finding some materials. I dug through barrels and drawers and managed to find sticks, logs, wooden planks, bread, and even some emeralds. These will be crucial to survive. I heard the sound of music emitting from the other side of a golden door. Whoa! A golden door! Last time that meant my base was near. Fingers crossed it means the same thing down here. I walked through and on the other side was a storefront. Jeff's shop? Upon closer look, the shelves were full of items for sale. There was even a barred-off room that could be bought by players. Wow! This is amazing! But this song is distracting. I turned off the jukebox, but suddenly I felt a chill run down my spine. I quickly turned the jukebox back on and the entity calmed down.
Sorry, that was my favourite song. I'm Jeff. Care to buy something? I'm having a sale on that plot of land for only 25 emeralds.
Sorry. I don't have enough right now.
Don't worry, my shop will reappear throughout your adventure. Take these for now.
Jeff tossed over a lantern and a stone sword. Thanks.
The enemies only get stronger from here. I'll see you around if you don't die first.
On days 108 through 110, I traversed through the factory doors to gather whatever materials I could find. In one of the rooms, I began hearing the sound of an entity approaching. I gotta hide! Quick! I found a nearby locker to hide in to better avoid the entity. It then quickly rushed by me. While inside, I got a cold chill rush over me. Did someone turn on the AC? I looked around and realized Mike was next to me in a ghostly form. Ah! Mike?
Max? Is that you?
I can't believe you're here!
Shh! You'll get yourself killed! The entities down here are much stronger than the ones in the hotel. The one that just passed is A60. He's even faster than Rush and will kill you on the spot.
What else is down here? How did you find me? What's going on?
I could sense something in you. Did the scientist get you? It doesn't matter. Looks like A60 is gone, so keep moving. Just watch out for A90 though.
Just like that, Mike vanished. Wait, come back! Ugh, what happened to you? And who is A90? I then exited the locker only to immediately get startled by another entity. Ah! I tried running, but the entity really didn't like me moving around. Oh! It damaged me greatly and disappeared, leaving me only with half a heart. Ugh, that must have been A90. It only attacked when I ran though. I'll try staying still next time. On days 111 through 114, I continued to traverse through rooms, searching through boxes for supplies on the way. I managed to find a stone pickaxe, cobblestone, dirt, and more emeralds. I think I finally have enough for the base. Eventually, I walked into a room, but there was no door to be seen. No way this is a dead end. I have to keep moving. I investigated the room for more clues and spotted 3 monitors titled 0, 6, and A. Besides them was a riddle. Play our little game and write their name. Wait a second. I broke apart the monitors and began to reorder them to spell A60. However, before I could place the last block, the figure broke into the room. He caught up to me! I was no match for the figure, so I hid behind some nearby shelves and began to stealth my way around the room. I was doing well until I was forced to walk into an opening. Okay, Max, make this quick. I walked into the gap and suddenly A90 appeared before me, forcing me to stop in my tracks. Oh no, I'm in real trouble now. I was out in the open and unable to move, otherwise A90 would kill me. The figure slowly inched closer and closer and stood completely still. Just don't move, just don't move. Before I could be spotted, A90 vanished and I ducked for cover. Woo! Despite my efforts, the figure managed to hear me and charged with the intent to kill. I had nowhere to run. I was finished. No, I can't die. Not here. Ah! On days 115 through 118, I underwent a transformation. My skin turned a different color, my limbs elongated, and I transformed into the figure. Ah! The two of us clashed in a battle of strength, ready to prove who the superior entity was. I immediately charged into battle. Unfortunately, his overall size was larger than mine, but it wasn't enough to deter me from attacking. Unlike him, I was able to hold weapons. I pulled out my sword and began swiping at the figure, dealing little bits of damage to his health. I continued running circles around him, hitting him with each pass. Despite my power, the original figure was still overwhelming me. Ugh, I have to run! I used my power to break my way through the puzzle and escaped by sheer force. The figure followed close behind, chasing me down the halls of the underground facility. We ran through room after room until I finally discovered a hiding spot. I ducked into the locker and managed to lose him. I made it. I don't feel so good. I was too weak from the battle and passed out. On days 119 through 122, I woke up as a human and my mind was once again fuzzy. I had another one of those weird dreams. What if they're real? I had an unnerving feeling, so I continued to move deeper into the underground facility. Eventually, I spotted the strange doorway once again and went inside to find Jeff's shop. It's just like he said, it reappeared. I finally had 25 emeralds, so I cashed them in for the plot of land. Once I did, the door unlocked.
Thank you kindly for your patronage. And hey, as a bonus, take these.
Jeff tossed me tons of building materials and a stone axe. Wow, thanks! With everything I needed in hand, I got to work on my build. I wanted to make something that could help me and other players, so I began working on a hotel that is actually kind to its guests. First, I started with the foundation, then focused on raising the walls for each room. I attached a private room to the lobby where I could place my own personal furnace, crafting bench, bed, and chests. This space will definitely get me and the other survivors to door 200. Once I finished working, I explored the plot further to see if there were any hidden clues. During my search, I found a hidden chest. Unfortunately, it was locked. Maybe this belonged to another player. I'll have to find their key. After completing my investigation, Jeff called me over with a request.
I was wondering if you could look for my friend El Goblino. I haven't seen him around here lately.
I don't know. Most things down here want to kill me.
If you're able to find him, I'll reward you with something really nice.
Well, if it makes my quest easier, you got yourself a deal. On days 123 through 125, I entered another room. Upon examination of the area, I found that I had realized I was in a lab testing room. Besides me, I had noticed glass separating me from a small group of scientists peering through from the other side. What the? Haven't I seen you before?
Test subject 13 appears agitated. Release entity S-33.
Test subject? One of the scientists pressed a button, releasing an entity into the room I was in. Uh-oh. Is that Zeke? He doesn't look very happy. Within seconds, he charged towards me with the intent to kill. I took out my stone sword and began to hack away at the entity with everything I had. Unfortunately, my dull blade was no match for him. He was far larger in size and had powerful claws that could tear through my health bar in a matter of seconds. It was clear that this wasn't a fair fight. I had felt weak against his attacks. He was overpowering me. Suddenly, my body started to react on its own. I was beginning to transform into the figure. In my new form, I was far faster and stronger than before. I was able to dig into Seek with my razor-sharp teeth along with my sword to rack up some extra damage. Seek continued his onslaught with his claws, but my skin was now as strong as armor. His attacks would deal considerably less damage. With one final blow, I had defeated and absorbed him.
The test was a success. Looks like we have something special.
Again, my body had reacted on its own and I transformed back into my normal human self. What just happened? These aren't dreams!
Oye, up here.
Nearby, I heard the sound of metal clanking above me. It seemed to be a little red goblin in the ventilation shaft.
In here, quick.
He threw down some ladders to help me climb up. Without any other form of exits, I listened to the little goblin and quickly followed behind him. On days 126 through 129, we had navigated through the vent system and ended up in a dungeon-like area. Who are you and where are we?
I'm El Goblino, and we're in my secret tunnel.
Thanks for helping me back there. Let's get moving then.
Just be warned, this place is full of creepy crawlers, so you'll have to help me clear a path.
You got it. Continuing further down the tunnel, we had eventually arrived at a room covered in mutated bugs.
Speak of the devil, there's some crawlies right here.
They immediately noticed us and began to spin webs. Each hit from their projectiles dealt good damage, so I had to be careful. I took out my stone sword and hacked away at the creepy bugs. But they were a lot stronger than they looked. It was almost as if my attacks weren't affecting them. Their webs stopped me in my tracks and I was getting overwhelmed. Ah! This is insane! Suddenly, I began to feel that same strange sensation, as if something inside me wanted to come out. Ah! I felt a strength surge through me as my skin began to mutate. My body began to morph. I grew in size and I became the terrifying monster Seek. I now had Seek's claws and was able to slash at the horde of bugs with great speed and power. They spat webs at me and tried to stop me, but now their attacks dealt much less damage than before. No amount of webs was going to stop me from stomping them all out. As Seek, I was able to overcome the horde of mutated bugs.
Dios mío, what happened to you?
The raging power began to feel like something I couldn't control. The bloodlust of the monster I'd become consumed my mind and put me into a full rampage mode. I began attacking El Goblino with the intent to kill.
Oi, what are you doing? Don't let the monster take over.
I wasn't myself anymore. Whatever was inside had completely ignored everything he said. At that moment, El Goblino threw a potion directly at me. All the urges I had felt had suddenly vanished. What? What happened?
Those scientists really did a number on you, hombre. You transformed into that monster you absorbed.
What did those guys want? I have to find the answers. On days 130 through 132, we had arrived back at Jeff's shop.
You found El Goblino. Thanks for your help, Max. Take this.
Jeff handed me a bunch of food as my prize. I'll definitely make it to door 200 at this rate. With my mission complete, I returned to the base to continue work on my hotel. Suddenly, I spotted a little orange cat walking around. Weird. Is that Kaylin's cat? I approached it when out of nowhere, I was jump scared by Kaylin's ghost. Ah!
Oh, hi, Max.
You're a ghost now too? What happened here?
I don't remember much. After the figure killed me, I woke up in a strange facility full of scientists. They were talking about a certain Subject 13, and I saw they had Kubo locked in a cage too. I had to save my baby boy, so I used my new ghost powers to break us both out of there. And that's how the two of us got here.
A scientist called me Subject 13.
There's something fishy going on, and it's not Kubo's breath. We'll get to the bottom of it together.
I continued working on my hotel, adding a specific room for Kaylin filled with all the different things she enjoyed. Next door, I built a cat area for Kubo, even adding shelves for him to hop around and play on. Looks like I'm already gaining allies. We'll all get out of this mess together. On days 133 through 136, I wanted to figure out more information about the usage of my powers, but I had no idea where to start. I tried a variety of different methods, like jumping around the room and running into a wall as hard as I could. I even tried yelling into the sky, but not even that worked. What am I doing wrong? I had finally come to the conclusion that it would only activate when I was in a dire situation. Suddenly, the lights around me turned red. This is not a good time for this! I immediately started looking around for a hiding place, but before I could move, a light bulb lit up in my brain. Wait a second. Maybe I'll change if I come face to face with an entity. I stood my ground and waited. All of my fear was being consumed by curiosity. I had to figure this out one way or another. Within seconds, A60 bursted into the room at an alarming speed. Come on, powers! Activate! Nothing was happening. The entity came barreling towards me and all I could do was avoid it. I tried my hardest to focus on the times when I had transformed before, but there were no results. This strategy isn't working! I had no choice but to bail and escape from the room. Running out of the door as fast as I could, A60 quickly followed behind me. A60 was hot on my tail, and I wasn't sure how much longer I would be able to keep running. Despite my efforts, A60 was slowly gaining on me. If I don't transform soon, I'll be caught! Just then, I spotted a vent. I quickly hopped inside and shut the door in its face. Take that! With nowhere to go but forwards, I headed through the vent when suddenly tiny spiders crawled at me. Ah! Die, die, die! They were surprisingly resilient, so I muscled through them in hopes of escaping before they could kill me. I saw the exit on the other side and headed towards it as fast as I could. But to my horror, A60 dropped down in front of me, blocking my escape. No! I'm cornered! I thought this was the end, when suddenly I felt power surge through my body. I began to transform once again into the powerful Seek. I can't control the monster! I blindly attacked A60. It was a narrow space, with nowhere for the entity to run. A60 tried hard to push me back, but it wasn't enough to keep me from fighting back. I took advantage of the situation and began pushing them towards the exit, each hit getting increasingly stronger. I could tell that it was getting weaker. The entity was no match for my power. I struck them down and absorbed them. Yes! More power! I felt a new surge of energy rush through me. My limbs vanished and my body became blurry. I transformed into A60. Ugh! On days 140 through 143, I plummeted through the halls of the underground as A60. As A60, I was able to fly at super speeds and use a scythe. I struck down player after player with my new powers. Power! Power! Just then, Mike flew through the ground, stopping me in my path.
Max, it's me! You need to calm down.
Kill!
I attacked Mike in my fit of rage, but flew right through him.
Please, I know you're in there. Remember everything we went through together?
Mike began to tell me about all the fun times we had together during our adventures through the hotel. It was Mike, Kaylin, and me against the world.
Mike?
Suddenly, I transformed back into my normal form and everything went dark. When I woke up, I was inside of a dark void. Have I been here before?
That you have.
I turned around and spotted Jack standing before me.
Hello, Max. Welcome back.
Hey, I remember you. You're Jack. You helped me out last time.
It seems you're having trouble traversing through to the end of your quest.
You never mentioned I'd have to go through another 100 doors.
Well, you weren't supposed to break the elevator and plummet into a secret area.
Well, how do I get out of here? I keep having these crazy transformations.
If you want to gain control of your powers, you must stay true to your desires. Always remember your drive to make it to door 200 and the ones you hold close.
Just then, I woke up to find myself alone. All that remained was a note. Head deeper into the underground facility and I'll tell you everything. Mike. What is Mike keeping from me? I have to find out. And so do you. Stick around. On days 144 through 146, I headed deeper into the dungeon and looted everything I could find. I managed to get plenty of emeralds as well as some more bread. Eventually, I found the door leading to Jeff, so I headed inside and cashed my emeralds in for a brand new iron sword.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Ooh, what's that new potion you have?
It's a potion that can bring ghost players back to life.
What's so bad about being a ghost?
Ghost players can't go through door 200. If you want to escape, you have to be alive.
Really? Then I need to save Kaylin and Mike. How can I get it?
Bring me a vial of cleansing serum. It's super rare, but I think it'll be an equal trade for that potion.
I'll keep an eye out. I finished my shopping and walked over to the base only to find it crawling with cats. What the?
Max, look! Kubo's family came to say hi.
Then it looks like I got some work to do. I started by expanding the height of the entire hotel, since I was only going to continue to gain more guests. After that, I used the expansion to enlarge Kubo's room. Now, his entire family would be able to stay with him. I even built a small pond so they could go fishing. This is coming along nicely. I should start seeking out more players to stay here. After I was done, I spotted the mysterious chest once again. Gosh, I really want to know what's in there. I had gotten a bit stronger, so I tried to break it with brute force. Unfortunately, it wouldn't budge. Not even having strength is opening it. I'll just have to find that key. On days 147 through 150, I continued my search for Mike when I suddenly began to hear strange noises. I haven't heard anything like that before. I turned around and was jump scared by a horrible entity. What is that? The entity managed to get a hit on me, dealing tons of damage. I had to get out of there fast. I ran through room after room, being chased by the powerful foe. If only I could control my transformations! Just as I thought I would make it out alive, I ran into a room that was full of lava. Who put this here? With nowhere else to run, I began to build a bridge across the pit as fast as I could. Unfortunately, I couldn't build fast enough. The entity was gaining on me. The beast emerged from the doorway and began to creep up closer and closer. Is this the end? Just as I thought I was done for, Mike appeared from the sky above and jump scared the entity. The monster flew off, leaving Mike and I alone. You saved me. Thank you.
I'm just glad you're okay.
Why have you been vanishing? I've just wanted to talk.
It's hard to explain. After I was killed, I woke up inside one of those labs here. There, I saw scientists looking at a giant monitor that was broadcasting your adventure through the hotel. They said something about how you were special and you would be the perfect specimen for their plans. I tried to escape, but the head scientist spotted me. He threw a potion onto one of his scientists, transforming him into the entity A120. I managed to escape, but I was still being hunted. I didn't want to put you in danger. I'm sorry for avoiding you.
So this was planned from the start?
Looks like your friend has said too much. Oh well, time to see where this leads.
Suddenly, we spotted the scientist standing in front of us. Before we could stop him, the lights began to flicker and turn green. This isn't good.
Have fun.
The scientist left, and the horrible entity Ambush made their appearance. Ambush charged at us with the intent to kill, and Mike once again tried to defend me. Unfortunately, Ambush was able to hit Mike, knocking him out cold. Mike! I watched in horror as Ambush slowly approached Mike. I had to help him, but I was defenseless. No! You can't hurt my friend! Jack's words echoed in my mind. I remembered my desire to make it to door 200, but first and foremost, I remembered my desire to protect my friends. Suddenly, I transformed into my Seek form, and I finally was able to take full control. This power is mine to use! You're going down! I rushed in to defend Mike and began to battle with Ambush. I slashed down at Ambush with my powerful claws as he tried to overwhelm me with his strength and speed. He may have been able to fly, but I was definitely dealing powerful blows into the entity. I continued my attacks, trying my best to avoid the lava around us, but I accidentally tripped into the pit below. Thankfully, as Seek, I had fire resistance. Looks like the lava is no problem. We continued to clash, but I was beginning to get overwhelmed. Suddenly, I was able to switch into my A60 form.
Looks like I have my whole arsenal.
As A60, I was able to fly around and keep up with Ambush's incredible speed. I used my trusty scythe to get in close whenever I had an opening. Slash after slash, Ambush grew weaker to my strength. After a lot of back and forth, I finally landed a blow that took Ambush out once and for all. Upon his death, I absorbed his strength too, making me even stronger. Once the dust settled, I returned to my human form and checked on Mike.
Thank you for saving me.
Anytime, buddy. Let's get out of here before more entities arrive. On days 158 through 161, we found the door to Jeff's shop again and decided it was time to expand my hotel. Come on, Mike. I think there's someone you'd be happy to see. Before I got started with building, I reunited Mike with our old friend Kaylin.
Kaylin! Oh my gosh! You're a ghost!
Takes one to know one.
Man, I can't tell you how happy it makes me to see both of you.
Team Friendship is back together! I gave my friends the chance to catch up while I continued to expand the base. I added even more rooms to fill up the space for any guests that might want to stay. Afterwards, I decided to do some improvements to the outside. I built a water fountain and placed some potted plants around to make it feel more welcoming. We may be underground, but a little plant life could really lighten things up. I finally wrapped up my expansion and decided to see what new goods Jeff had in his shop.
Oi, you have any luck finding that vial of cleansing serum?
Sorry man, I haven't.
Dang. Well then, I have a mission for you. Find my buddy Bob. Might be able to help you find the item.
Yeah, I can.
And bring it back here. He owes me money.
On days 162 through 165, I went from room to room in search of Bob, when suddenly I saw a skeleton being chased by a mutated bug. What the?
A little help here?
Oh, leave him alone! I activated my transformation abilities and rushed in to defend the skeleton with my powers. I took out my powerful claws and began to slash away at the puny insect. I had fought these bugs before, but this one was much more resilient than the other ones I had faced. Luckily, I was stronger too. After a lot of back and forth, the oversized insect went down and I transformed back into my human form.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm in your debt.
Who are you?
The name's Bob Skelly, friend.
I've been looking for you. Jeff said maybe you can help me find cleansing serum?
Cleansing serum? Are you sure? The creature that guards that is incredibly powerful.
I'll do anything.
Well, okay, it's your funeral.
Bob took me into another room that housed a vent. We traveled through it until we got a view of the other side. There, A120 was lurking in a dungeon. This guy again? He was crazy strong.
Well, he is the guardian of the serum you're seeking. If you're able to kill that thing, it'll drop the item you need.
Oop. Well, here goes nothing. On days 166 through 168, I jumped out of the vent, alerting A120 of my presence. Hey there, ugly! Come and get me! Bob backed away from the entrance and shut the doors. Hey, aren't you coming?
No way. This is your problem.
Gee, thanks! A120 was about to attack. It was time to put my new powers into action. I began to levitate and the lights around me flickered green. My limbs vanished and my body pixelated. I had immense power. I was now ambush! A120 and I engaged in an epic battle. Charging in, I managed to get the first hit. The startled entity hardly seemed fazed and continued to rush in at me. With my new abilities, I began firing a red beam from my mouth, dealing massive damage to its health. Closing in on me, its attacks hit me like a truck, knocking me back hard, but it wasn't enough to stop me from completing my objective. Thanks to my new ambush powers, I was able to defeat the oversized smiley face. Upon its death, it dropped the cleansing serum I was seeking. Once I picked it up, the lights turned back to normal and I became human. Time to get that potion. Bob and I located another door to Jeff's shop and reunited with the gang.
Oh, Lee, Bob, it's so good to see you.
Aw, shucks.
Hey, where's that money you owe me?
Give me a few more days on that one.
I traded in my cleansing serum for the revival potion, but suddenly I had a terrible realization. Now I have to choose. Do I revive Mike or Kaylin? On days 169 through 172, I was having trouble making my big decision, so I decided to do some expanding on the hotel to clear my head. I began to expand the place, adding a fully functional kitchen for all of the guests to enjoy, as well as a swimming pool to relax. I really wish I could swim, but I have work to do. Once I finished expanding the hotel, I checked on the chest again and transformed into the figure. Surely my monster powers can crack this open. I used all of the powers I had, but even with the strength of numerous entities, the chest still wouldn't budge. Ugh, what is this thing made of? After all of my hard work, I still couldn't decide, so I gathered Kaylin and Mike to talk to them about the potion.
I think Kaylin should take it.
No. I'll stay locked up here. You take it, Mike.
Ugh, I can't choose! There has to be another way to save you both! Out of options, I returned to Jeff in hopes he had an answer. Do you have another revival potion?
Nope, but maybe the scientists know something.
Then I'll just have to keep going deeper into the factory. I'll find a way to get everyone out of here. On days 173 through 176, I traveled through more doors, looting the drawers and crates as I went. I managed to find iron ingots, food, and more building materials. These will definitely help me survive until door 200. Suddenly, I spotted a scientist collecting research samples. What are you up to? Before I could see what she was up to, she spotted me and made a run for it. Not on my watch! I chased the scientist until she activated a secret entrance in the hall. Before I could catch up, the door slammed in my face. Alright, have it your way. First, I tried activating the pressure plates, but it was no use. Second, I attempted to use all of my powers to rip down the door by force, but even that wasn't enough. The door wouldn't budge. Well, that didn't work. Huh. I looked around and spotted a nearby locker, which gave me an idea. If force wasn't working, I was gonna have to get in with trickery. Okay, looks like I'm leaving now. I hid in a nearby locker and waited for the scientist to come out. She finally did, but out of nowhere, the figure dropped down and killed her instantly. There's no way I'd win a fight with that thing. I'll need to stay away from him at all costs. The secret door was left open and the figure wandered inside. The clue I need is in there. Looks like I'll have to be careful. On days 177 through 179, I carefully infiltrated the lab and saw the figure on a rampage in the other room. He killed scientists left and right in a fit of blind rage. I better move quickly while he's distracted. I began to search through multiple rooms until finding one that looked like it was for potion mixing. Unfortunately, all of the bottles were empty except for one. This definitely isn't a revival potion. I wonder what sort of powers it has. Just then, I realized that the figure had walked into the room. I hid behind the tables and tried to sneak behind cover to keep me out of his sights. Meanwhile, the figure walked around the room, listening closely to any noise he could pick up on. Suddenly, I accidentally knocked over a bottle, alerting the figure. I ran towards a locker and hid inside while the figure investigated the source of the sound. Luckily, he stopped looking for me and continued on his way. When the coast was clear, I climbed out of the locker and escaped the room. Whew, now just to... Suddenly, I spotted a player trapped in another room. Oh no, I have to help them. On days 180 through 183, I went into the other room and walked over to the trapped player.
Who are you?
Don't worry, I'm here to help. I broke the player out of the cage, but unfortunately, I made too much noise. Run! The two of us ran out of the secret lab, being chased by the figure. We ran as fast as we could, passing room after room until suddenly A90 stopped us in our tracks. I don't have time for you! I told the player to hide in a locker and I began my next transformation. I levitated and my limbs began to vanish. My face distorted into a huge smile and I could feel my power take over. I was now A120. The entity immediately changed forms and came barreling towards me. My new abilities allowed me to summon A120's jaws from the ground below us, each chomp dealing a devastating blow. It tried its best to get in range to attack, but as soon as the entity came within reach, I initiated my trap. This fight seemed like a breeze. Thanks to my new form, I was able to take out A90 and absorb his powers for later.
I wonder what I'll be able to do with his form.
I turned back into my human form and hid in the locker with the player. The figure broke inside and looked around. Luckily for us, he continued on his way. That was close. We better keep moving. On days 184 through 186, the player and I found another door leading to Jeff's shop and headed inside. I got him settled in one of our hotel rooms, and he thanked me for the hospitality. I'm always happy to help. Once he was comfortable, I reported back to Mike and Kaylin with the bad news. I couldn't find another revival potion. There might really only be one.
We still have time before we get to door 200. Don't give up.
You're right. Thanks, partner. I got to work on my next expansion to the hotel. I built 2 new additional areas for guests to occupy in the future, each one equipped with beds and decent lighting. Once I was finished, I decided to check out the chests again, but I still couldn't come up with any leads. What am I gonna do? Just then, I remembered I had found the mysterious potion. Oh yeah, at least I have this, but I'm a bit nervous to drink it. Kaylin walked up to me.
I'll do it.
Are you sure?
I'm already a ghost. What's the worst that can happen?
I gave her the potion and she drank it up in one gulp. Well,
Tastes fruity.
suddenly everything went dark. Kaylin? The lights flickered back on and revealed that Kaylin was now a ghost cat. Oh my gosh! Are you okay?
I'm a cat! My dreams have finally come true!
Kaylin began to jump around wildly like a cat with zoomies.
I can jump so high! Whee!
Can't you just fly? You're a ghost.
Oh, yeah. Whee!
Just then, Kubo walked up to me.
I can understand you! What is it, boy? Is Timmy stuck in the well?
What is he saying?
He said that he knows how to open the chest. It belongs to one of the scientists and he has the key.
I'll just have to find them then. Thanks, buddy. Suddenly, Kalen transformed back to normal.
Oh man.
On days 191 through 193, I headed deeper into the factory. I traveled until I entered a room with a bridge positioned over a giant pit. I'm so scared of heights. I started moving over the bridge, taking extra care not to fall. Don't look down, don't look down! What is that? I looked down and saw a sea of Screeches staring at me from below. Ah! The swarm flew up and began to attack me, so I fought back. I transformed into my new form. I was now a 90. They all came swarming in underneath me. They had large numbers, but after all that I've been through, I had gotten a whole lot stronger. With my powerful scream, I set them ablaze one by one. Luckily, I was able to fly, making it easier to evade the massive horde. They were no match for me. After a long battle, I managed to take out the last Screech and absorbed its power for myself. Not bad. Just then, I spotted a scientist run by. Get back here! On days 194 through 196, I chased after the scientist. Thanks to my new powers, I had far more speed than your average person. Slowly but surely, I was gaining on him. Stop right there! The scientist was almost in my grasp when suddenly he began to speed up too. What the?
You're not the only one with a trick up his sleeve.
I was beginning to lose him. I had to hone in my power and think fast. No, you don't! Stop! Suddenly, I felt the power of a 90 grow within me. I managed to teleport in front of him and stop him in his tracks. Don't move or else.
Seems like our little experiment was a success. Finally, we found a subject capable of transforming into multiple entities.
You guys are crazy! I just want to get out of here!
You're not getting to door 200 without passing one more test.
Suddenly, the lights began to flicker and turn blue. What's happening? Before my very eyes, the scientist began to levitate in the air. His body began to shift in form as he morphed into the entity Rush. Rush charged me with his incredible powers and gave it everything it had. Rush was the fastest foe I had faced so far. He was so quick that he was able to evade my attacks and land in quick blows whenever he got close. I retaliated with my A90 scream and tore through his armor whenever I managed to land a hit. As the battle raged on, I realized that Rush wasn't pulling out any new moves. His abilities were limited. I'm not a one-trick pony like you! Take this! I changed into Seek and ran at him with my powerful claws. Rush was shocked that I was able to transform now with ease, and I used that to my advantage. I was able to get in powerful hits that brought him closer and closer to defeat. Rush retaliated with more powerful hits, getting my health low, but the battle was already over. Thanks to my variety of forms, Rush couldn't keep up. I managed to take out the entity once and for all. That's what you get for experimenting on me! Upon its death, it dropped a strange golden key. Wait, is this what I think it is? I returned to normal and hurried through more rooms until finally finding another door leading to Jeff's shop. Once I made it, I ran inside and stood at the chest I'd waited so long to open. The chest had held incredible secrets. Time to find out what's inside once and for all. On day 199, I used my key to open the mysterious chest. To my surprise, I discovered that it held a second revival potion. Oh my gosh! Now Kalen, Mike, and I can all escape! I rushed to my friends to tell them the good news. Now both of you can be saved!
I knew you had it in you.
What are you waiting for? Hand over that potion.
I handed them both a revival potion and they drank it down. Suddenly, their bodies became opaque just like before. They were revived!
I feel whole again.
Oh, yes! The ground! I've missed you.
It's so good to see you guys normal again. Just then, the player I had saved walked up to me.
I found some more of my friends. Can they stay here?
Sure. I got to work on the finishing touches for the hotel. This time around, I added windows on each wall to give the occupants more breathing room and a nice view of the accommodations outside of the complex. In addition, I also finished the place with a roof to keep us all feeling safe and comfortable. Once everything was done, I got all the new residents settled in.
Thank you for everything, Max. We wanted to give you this.
The player tossed over a ton of diamonds. Whoa! How did you find this?
My team lumped together all our loot. It's the least we can do.
Thanks! This is just what I needed! With my new bounty, I began to craft armor for Kalen, Mike, and myself. I also made each of them a sword so they weren't totally defenseless. Finally, we were all prepared for the journey ahead.
Ready to go?
Yeah! With that, Team Friendship set off towards the final door. On day 200, we arrived at door 200.
Here it is.
Are you guys ready?
You bet. Let's go.
Freedom, here we come! We walked inside, and just like before, I spotted another elevator that could take us to the surface. We're so close! Let's go, guys! We approached the elevator, but before we could reach it, the figure fell from the ceiling above. Everyone hide! The three of us scrambled behind some nearby shelves, but I got separated from Kalen and Mike. Be careful, guys. Meet back at the elevator and we'll get out of here.
You got it, partner.
Each of us carefully navigated the room, inching closer to the elevator. But just as we thought we were out of the woods, Kalen knocked into something.
Uh-oh.
The figure lunged at my friends, and the two of them tried to defend themselves. Thanks to their armor, they were able to sustain a few attacks from the entity, but it was no use. They were too weak. No! You're not getting my friends a second time! I honed in all of my powers and transformed into the figure once again. I lunged at the entity with all of my might. He was going to feel the wrath of all of my powers. It was figure against figure, but this time not only was I stronger, but my friends were there to fight by my side. We clashed, biting at each other with our monstrous jaws while Kalen and Mike slashed him down with their blades. The entity was incredibly strong and we had to be careful not to take too many hits. Even so, with our combined powers, we were beginning to overpower him. Bit by bit, we broke through his armor and were able to deal more damage. After a fierce battle, we finally took down the monstrous entity once and for all. We did it! With everyone safe, I de-transformed and we headed into the elevator and began to ascend to the surface.